I hereby call to order the public hearing on budgets for the Board of Education for Wilmette Public Schools, District 39, this Monday, August 23rd, 2021. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Amy Paling.
Here.
John Caesarretti.
Here.
Ann Hart.
Here.
Bonnie Kim.
Here.
Frank Panzica.
Here.
Lisa Schneider-Fabes.
Here.
Erin Stone.
Here. I'll turn it over to Dr. Cremascoli to invite some very special guests to lead the pledge.
Thank you so much. Students who are here with us today, please join us at the podium. And as they're doing so, let me introduce who's here with us today. We have 4 students who are here with us today who represent the Strategic Planning Core Team for District 39. As the Board of Education is aware, District 39 launched a strategic planning effort in the early months of 2021, focused on community engagement and aspirational visioning. And I think for the first time in history, we invited our students to be part of this really important future planning. We invited students from across our middle school and junior high school, as well as students from New Trier, to come and engage in these really important conversations. And we were so fortunate and so blessed to have 8 outstanding students join us in this effort. They gave of their time and were very brave in sharing their thoughts, both positive and critical, of the very many ways that we can continue to improve and do better for our students and for our community. So these 4 outstanding students are here today. I would like to invite them to share just a few words about what their experiences were like. They may have nominated a representative to share their perspective. Tony, is there a microphone that's handy?
Yep.
Great. So we have with us Gwen, Miranda, William, and Iman. We also might have Morgan joining us in just a minute. Morgan was finishing up an activity at New Trier and was hoping to jump onto the Zoom. And again, we had a few other students who weren't able to be with us today. So students, would you be so kind as to tell us just a little bit about what your experience was like serving on the strategic planning core team?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Okay. It was really nice to finally be a part of all these important conversations, such as our community and how we can progress forward and become a stronger community. And I think it just, all these conversations we're having and all these plans we're putting in place goes to show how strong our community is, that we're willing to be critical of it and work on it and make it grow and make it stronger. And it was such a important experience to be on this committee, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and I think we're all very grateful you invited the students, because I think we see things or we interact with students that other community members might not see, and I think it's really important to have that point of view. And I think we're really excited to see how this plan plays out, and we're really happy to improve the student
the student experience and our community experience for our staff, our administration, our stakeholders, and all of those.
I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to be a part of the Strategic Planning Board. It is really cool to have a say in what our core values and such are for this district. So thank you.
And I wanted to say thank you for this experience, and I would look forward to seeing where the strategic plan brings the district in the next couple of years. Thank you.
Thank you all. So we'll invite our students now to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll stand there for just a minute. The board president and I have a small token of appreciation we'd like to bring to you.
I would like to second Dr. Kremiscoli's thanks on behalf of the board and as a fellow strategic plan member. I was part of these conversations with you all, and I can say wholeheartedly that your contributions were some of the best parts of our conversations, and you added so much. I don't think people understand how much time this took during what are very busy schedules, we know, and you are leaving the district better than you found it by all that you added. So we're deeply grateful. Thank you so much. Okay, so I will here.
Here, I'll take the shirt.
Okay, great. And I will hand out these certificates. Gwendolyn? Miranda? Thank you. Iman? Thank you. And William? And we have these for the others as well who are not able to be here tonight.
And we also have a small token of appreciation. As our students know, we have been coming up with a new motto associated with our strategic plan. And so it is engage, empower, and inspire. And we'd like you to wear this shirt with pride, knowing that you contributed to its creation.
Thank you so much. I will turn it over to Dr. Kremiscoli for the budget presentations.
Thank you. And I am privileged to introduce Corey Boltemeyer, who will walk us through the budget presentations.
All right, let me share my screen.
Or if you could move your microphone closer to like the whole base, if you move it closer to yourself, there you go. Thank you.
Okay, so just wanted to walk through the final version of the fiscal year 2022 budget. As we had previously talked about, there were quite a few changes from our tentative form that we saw back in June. I just want to run through some of the bigger items on that list. Since we were able to finalize our 21-22 operational plans, we were able to plug in the COVID-related budget amounts based upon those plans. Another big one that usually finalizes over to the summer each year is the final 2020 property tax extension. The one thing of note from this one is that we estimated new growth to be 14.2 million, and the actual came in at 12.2. Just for a reference, what does that impact our extension overall? It's about $50,000 less than what we would have anticipated, but still pretty close to our overall. The corporate personal property replacement taxes saw a nice increase due to some legislative changes and a stronger than expected economy. That was able to go up by about 285,000. We settled the WEA contract, so we were able to plug in final compensation amounts for that group as well as all other District 39 employees into the final budget. We had the recommendation of projects for next summer, and so then built into this budget we have the last part of the summer 21 projects and the beginning of the summer 22 projects. We had some firmer enrollment numbers and sign-up numbers for things like Keep 39 programming and student bus transportation. And then the last part was adjusting the transfers between funds. So COVID has now hit us in a couple of fiscal years. I thought it was important to highlight that the tentative budget had about $1.9 million of COVID-related expenditures or placeholders. And as we were able to identify our plans for this year, we were able to drop that down to about 390,000. The biggest part of that drop down is being able to pull back on salaries and benefits. There was a little bit pulled out in purchase service and supplies and materials, but salary and benefits was the biggest area. The operating funds is where we focus most of our time. Total revenues, 67.7 million. Expenditures, 65.6. That leaves us with the surplus for the current year of about $2 million. Then when we add in transfers out to the capital projects, which isn't a part of our operating funds, to cover one-time expenditures, fund balance does decrease, and we're expecting fund balance to end at about 29.8 million at the end of fiscal year 22, or just over 45% of fund balance. The 7 million of construction projects, that budgeted amount would represent the last portions or roughly last half of the Ramona and Mackenzie projects from this summer, and then the majority of the work over at the junior high for the air conditioning, and then a lot of the AE fees and the beginning construction part for some projects at Harper next summer, the Mackenzie air conditioning, and the Ramona window replacement. This slide shows all of our revenues by type. As expected, property tax leads the way. One of the things I like to focus on a slide like this is adding property and other local revenue to kind of get that total local contribution to our budget, which is held steady right at about 92%. On the expenditure side, when we add up the salary and benefits, we're right at about 81% of our total expenditures. Not a big surprise, but always going to drive our overall budget. This slide shows revenues, operating revenues versus expenditures for the last 3 known and completed fiscal years, and then fiscal year 21, which we just finished, and then the budget for fiscal year 22. So the nice thing with this slide is that each year the revenues are exceeding the expenditures, in some years by a little more than others. This slide shows 5 years of actual fund balance percentage as a percentage of expenditures. And then in the middle, you see the 2021 with a 56 in there. That is an estimate of where we are likely to end up. We still have a little work to do to get ready for our audit in a few weeks, but it's the best information available right now. And when you plug that in and then follow it up with the fiscal year 22 budget that we're asking the board to approve later this evening, that's how we get to the 45% at the end of 2022. And then we have the remaining projected amounts for 23, 24, 25, and 26. And with that, I will open up to any questions related to the fiscal 22 budget.
I'd have a comment. Yeah, thank you, Corey, for all this hard work in the administration. I think it's a really good budget. Spent a lot of time on it. We've talked about it many times, so I feel like we don't really need to talk about it too much. But it is a lot of work goes into it. We do appreciate the work. Thank you.
Okay. So we also have time right now for the audience to address the board regarding this presentation of the budgets. Are there any, prior to that, should we move on to WCSEA?
The WCSEA budget should be presented as well
All
before
right,
we move on to public comment. Thank you.
Do that in a minute.
Corey?
All right, so we are also asking the board to approve the final WCSEA budget for fiscal year 22. And just as a refresher, WCSEA is a special ed agreement between District 39 and Avoca School District 37. WCSEA has its own separate financial statements, which is why we're approving a separate budget. And District 39 serves as the fiscal agent for WCSEA, which is why we are approving it and not Avoca. Very short and sweet. The total revenues and expenditures each year equal each other for WCSEA. It's a simple in and out. There's no fund balance. So for fiscal year 22, the budget would be $199,489. And as I said, zero fund balance. So that ends the WCSEA budget presentation. And I also just wanted to point out that, as mentioned, it is a lot of work to prepare the budget. And in our business office, our controller, Jane, does a lot of work behind the scenes to help us get ready for it. So her work should be recognized. And we also get a lot of feedback from the rest of the administrative team. So it takes a lot of people to get where we're at tonight. But we all look forward to it, and I think we're ready to go.
Okay, any questions? Thank you to the whole team for the planning and the presentation. We will at this point move to public comments on this topic. So if there are any guests in the audience, we can start there. I don't see any. So Mr. DeMonte, do we have any community members registered via Zoom who wish to address the board for the budget hearing?
One person in the meeting right now, and if that person wishes to provide public comment for this portion of the meeting, raise your hand in Zoom, please. Oh, hold on. Yep, raising your hand. I'll move you over into the meeting, and then you can turn on your video and unmute.
Yes. So, yes, please turn on your video and state your name and community of residence, and you have 3 minutes to address the board.
Okay, the person's in our meeting, so just go ahead and unmute and turn on your video, please.
Can you hear me? You got me? Hi. Thank you for your time. My name is Greg Fisher. I live at 675 Harms Road in Glenview. My daughter is 10 years old, and my wife and I live here. And we have recently, my daughter has been going to Ramona for 4 years, and she has been taking the bus. Unfortunately, on our street, we have no sidewalks. So it's kind of a safety hazard walking down the street there, because there's like 2 feet on a very busy street. I don't know if you're familiar with that part of Harms, just south of Glenview Road. For the last 4 years, the bus has come because of that, and come and picked her up, as well as a few other kids down the street, and picked up at their driveway. This year, as she goes into Highcrest, we've been notified that now that she's older, she should be able to walk to the bus stop where the other kids are getting on at Glenview Road and Beaver. And there are no sidewalks here. And as I mentioned several times to the bus liaison, it's very dangerous to be able to walk down the street 2 feet from oncoming, from traffic going 35 miles an hour, trucks, buses, everything going down there. So it's very dangerous. So I've relayed that a couple times to Michelle McGregor and let her know. And she came back both times and said that, she's old enough now to walk, down the street, as is the other girl, Daria. And that there's no flexibility in changing that. So we're very confused by that because obviously that's a tremendous safety hazard and very dangerous for our daughter. And we're not about to have her walk down the street. So we're trying to get a resolution on this because, you know, there are a couple of us on the harms. This is obviously an unusual situation because most streets have sidewalks. So I wanted to make you aware of that. I have put in notes to the superintendent, and I think Corey has received something. So I'm waiting to hear back and have not heard anything yet. But okay, I'm not sure what else to say. It's just a very dangerous situation.
We will make sure that somebody gets back to you to further this conversation. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Okay, I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
There's no one else.
Okay. I request a motion to adjourn to the public hearing on the resolution to authorize a permanent interfund transfer. Moved. May I have a second?
Second.
Motion having been made and seconded, all those in favor, please indicate by saying yay.
Yay.
Motion carried by general consent, and we are now adjourned to the next public hearing. I hereby call to order this public hearing on the resolution authorizing a permanent interfund transfer of the Board of Education for Wilmette Public Schools District 39 for Monday, August 23rd, 2021. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Amy Paling,
Here.
John Ready,
Here.
Ann Hart,
Here.
Bonnie Kim,
Here.
Frank Panzica,
Here.
Lisa Schneider-Fabes,
Here.
Aaron Stone.
Okay, Dr. Kremiscoli, I turn it over to you.
And I again introduce Corey Boltemeyer to provide a brief summary of what this resolution authorizes.
All right, so this resolution that we'll be asking the board to approve later authorizes a transfer from the education fund to the operation and maintenance fund. The amount that we're proposing is $750,000, and this is a transfer that the district has done on and off many times in the past. It's not one that is done every year. It's done to help support the operation and maintenance fund, which then transfers the money to capital projects to cover construction costs. The one difference between just transferring between the operation and maintenance to capital projects is you can just have the board approve the resolution. This one requires a public hearing and a published notice, which we did earlier this month. So that is the reason why we have a public hearing specifically related to this transfer. Any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
I just had a background question. What, the last couple of times we've done it, what size transfers have we done?
When I looked back a few years, there was one that was, I think, $3 or $4 million, and then there was one that was, I think, 750 or $1 million. So from my perspective, you know, one of the things that I look for in whether we should do this transfer in any given year is, with the planned transfer to cover construction costs during a budget year, does the operation and maintenance fund need any additional support from O&M before it would go negative? And if I think there is, you know, even a reasonable or somewhat likely chance, then I'll put together a transfer. And if not, which the past fiscal year we just ended, we did not do that transfer. We didn't need it. So that's kind of really where I'm coming from.
It's really a cash flow issue.
Yeah, between funds.
Right. Okay. And once the money's transferred over, then like you said, we transfer money to the capital budget fund.
Yep.
And that's to keep things cleaner.
Yes.
Right? So, okay, thank you.
Are there any community members, Mr. DeMonte, who wish to address the board on the permanent interfund transfer resolution?
No, we just have the same person from before.
Okay. So having no further business, I request a motion to adjourn to the regular meeting of the Board of Education.
I move to adjourn to the regular meeting of the Board of Education.
May I have a second?
Second.
Motion having been made and seconded, all those in favor, please indicate by saying yay.
Yay.
Motion carried by general consent, and we are now adjourned to the regular meeting. I hereby call to order this regular meeting of the Board of Education for Wilmette Public Schools District 39 for Monday, August 23rd, 2021. We need to take roll. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Amy Paling,
Here.
John Cesaretti,
Here.
Ann Hart,
Here.
Bonnie Kim, Frank Panzica,
Here.
Lisa Schneider-Fabes,
Here.
Aaron Stone.
Here.
I seek a motion to approve the minutes of the June 14th, 2021 regular and executive session meetings and the minutes of the August 3rd, 2021 special meeting.
I move to approve the minutes of the June 14th, 2021 regular and executive session meetings and the minutes of the August 3rd, 2021 special meeting.
May I have a second?
Second.
The motion has been made and seconded. Board members, are there any comments, errors, or omissions to the minutes? Okay. All those in favor of approving the minutes, say yay.
Yay.
Hey.
Yay. The motion carries by general consent. This is our third opportunity for the public to address the board on any topic. Are there any audience members or members on Zoom who would like to address the board? Then we will move on to board reports. I will turn it over to Mr. Panzica for facility development.
Thank you. The Facilities Committee met as part of the Committee of the Whole meeting on Wednesday, August 18th. This is a fun time to talk about facilities because after a very busy summer, the scheduled construction projects were successfully completed on time and under budget. First, we now have KEEP 39 classrooms for all schools with the completion of construction at Ramona and Mackenzie. This is a big accomplishment that allows options for a full day at school for children at kindergarten age. 70 to 80+% of our parents chose to pay for this option, which reaffirms its popularity. The other big project was the completion of second floor air conditioning renovations at WCSEA. This major project was finished in time to allow teachers and students to have this benefit on days like today. Mr. Fultemeyer was able to visit projects at Ramona and WCSEA completed with our partners in the PTA and PTO. I want to particularly thank everyone involved in the completion of the Ramona playground. This was a project that the community worked very hard on for several years, and it's nice to see it's available for our kids this fall. We then moved on to continued early looks at our summer 2022 construction projects. This is a mix of required facility renovations and some important improvements. For Harper, we looked at a partial roof replacement, replacement windows, replacement of a very old boiler and associated pipes, and the renovation of 4 decades-old bathrooms. For Mackenzie, there is also a recommendation for a partial roof replacement and updating 20-year-old unit vents. Many years ago, when we were making necessary repairs at Mackenzie, the piping to allow a future upgrade to air conditioning was an investment in the future. Now we are looking at the purchasing of a chiller unit that will bring air conditioning to all the classrooms of Mackenzie for only slightly more than it normally costs to add AC to a large space. Besides the obvious advantage, this will open up options for future summer programs in our elementary classrooms. A similar investment for the future was identified for Ramona. While replacing the pipes for the new boiler, we are looking at upgrading these pipes for the future option of a significant cost savings if we plan to add AC to Ramona classrooms in the future. We will continue looking at more design and cost details and continue to discuss prioritization as we move through the fall. Decisions on projects will be in December, January, and February. Thank you.
I'll turn it to Mr. Cesaretti for school finance.
Thank you. So at the same meeting, Mr. Boltzmeyer reviewed the D39 final budget, highlighting a summary of changes, which he presented earlier during the budget hearing. He also provided a summary of the WCSEA final budget. The annual tax compliance resolution we also talked about, and I think we're going to act on tonight, which helps the district comply with the tax requirements around its tax advantage obligations. And that was our meeting.
Okay, thank you. And Mrs. Schneider-Fabes for strategy.
So same day, a little later, we had a meeting of the strategy committee. We discussed and focused on the return to school plan approval, building upon the district's reopening plan for the 2020-2021 school year, and incorporating the updated guidance from the governor, from the Illinois Department of Public Health, the Illinois State Board of Education, and local health departments. The district prepared and presented the 2021-22 return to school plan. Joint guidance of ISB and IDPH acknowledges the health benefits of educational benefits of in-person instruction and emphasizes the need for full in-person instruction for fall 2021, while providing recommendations and guidance for school districts to implement in providing in-person instruction for this fall and planning for the safety of students, staff, and their families. The plan is detailed through the presentation and will continue to be reviewed, refined, and updated in accordance with the new health and safety guidance, as well as identified needs throughout the district to implement effective educational services for all students in accordance with the ever-changing health, safety, and educational guidelines. And I do want to say that was a tremendous lift from the administration, and it was incredibly well done. Thank you very much.
And we have a legislative update from Mrs. Kim.
Are we bypassing the
foundation
like CRC?
I don't have that on my.
Oh,
I don't think we have a CRC update.
okay.
I think they're still working on their schedule. I know in terms of the Education Foundation, their meeting dates were just set, and they are working on having representation at each of their schools, for each of our schools, for a variety of functions coming up. With that, we can turn to Ms. Kim for the IASB and legislative updates.
thank you. I do not have anything to say about the IASB. And just a quick update for the legislative update. The governor recently signed into law Senate Bill 508, which increases the tax district's levy based on the prior year's adjustment of a decrease due to property tax appeal refunds. This law became effective on the date it was signed, which is August 20th, and thus will affect the 2021 tax levy. This amendment of the property tax code might be short-lived, however, as a new House bill was just introduced, which would entirely repeal Senate Bill 508. It would require a taxing district to affirmatively seek recuperation of lost funds rather than there being an automatic tax adjustment. Our administration is investigating the impact of SB 508 and its progeny on District 39, and will have additional information to share with the board in September. That's all I have.
Thank you. Great. We can move to information items.
Thank you. As is our practice, written communication is listed, posted online with the board agenda materials. The board received many written communications leading up to this evening's meeting, as well as related to the fall return to school plan. In terms of administrative announcements, our fall 2021 return to school plan with the board's approval of our plan as presented. We have shared information with our staff and with our families. We've also created a fall 2021 back to school page, which provides families with links to the plan, with the published FAQs and other resources for our families. We have this page linked to the front page of the website, and we invite our families as well as staff, anyone else who might be interested throughout the community to review that page. It will continue to be updated throughout the year. It looks somewhat similar to last year's reopening plan page, but has some really targeted information for this year's plan and the return to school. Our first days of Institute have kicked off. We kicked off actually our District Institute Day with new teacher orientation throughout last week, followed by paraprofessional training on Friday, August 20th. We had a wonderful group of paraprofessionals who came in and participated in training on Friday. Our first district-wide Day of Institute was today, with all of our staff learning in their buildings, collaborating and reconnecting within their schools. Tomorrow, our whole district will come together for our district-wide institute. We're really excited to reunite on Tuesday, tomorrow, and have a wonderful day of professional learning scheduled for everyone. We're excited to kick off the great school year ahead with everyone back in person. I think the construction updates were well summarized by Frank, so thank you for that. We're really pleased with how the construction projects over the summer have wrapped up, and despite a whole lot of extra effort right there at the end, we were pleased to welcome our teachers back into their classrooms on Wednesday the 18th so that they could start preparing for the school year ahead. The spaces look great, and we'll be scheduling board tours in the coming months. In terms of property tax appeals, District 39 has received several property tax appeals since the June board meeting. These are the first PTABs the district has received for tax year 2020. A summary of the potential financial impact is included in the board packet. We do have a resolution which shows later on this evening's agenda. District 39 is part of the Health Dental Insurance Cooperative 90s. The cooperative, also determines the third-party administrator for cafeteria benefits such as flexible spending accounts, dependent care, and health reimbursement accounts. Earlier this summer, the cooperative voted to switch third-party administration for these plans. So this resolution authorizes District 39 to move from TASC to Navia as our third-party administrator for these plans. And then finally, Freedom of Information Acts. A FOIA was received in June from Diane Schnazenbach, requesting MAP student growth summary reports for all of our schools with grade level detail from fall 2020 through spring 2021. And we can move on to annual business. All right. In terms of our enrollment update, we annually provide the board with an enrollment update. I will turn it to Dr. Glowacki to give the board a quick summary of the report, which is attached to the agenda this evening.
Thank you very much. Each fall at this time, we present an update on student enrollment and subsequent staffing for this new school year. The update often compares current enrollment with enrollment that was predicted either last spring and even during the past school year. This year, we have approximately 3,302 students registered and enrolled, which is a slight decrease of about 83 students from last year. We have employed 148 homeroom teachers for this school year, which is about 22 less than last year. That's significant, but we all know last year was not your typical school year either. This is more within the range of what we typically expect. We monitored this enrollment carefully through the summer. We purposefully broke some sections earlier than we typically would because we expected continued student enrollment through the summer months and did not want to push class sizes to their maximum board guidelines. At the elementary level, most classes have between 18 and 22 students in the homeroom, while in grades 5 through 8, homerooms range between 23 and 26 students. In addition, the kindergarten enrichment program is being offered this fall at each of our elementary schools. This is an update from the written report. There are 4 sections of Keep 39 at Mackenzie School, and there will be 3 sections at each of the 3 other schools. As you may recall, last year we had 2 Keep 39 classes at Central and 2 classes at Harper. And this year enrollment more closely reflects what we were anticipating for this program when we planned for it. We're excited to see the continued interest and where the program might go in the future. At this point, if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
I believe you said there are 80 less students in total. I was just curious, is that kind of spread out across the schools, or are we seeing it in one specific area or school?
So in next month, either September or October, we do a fall housing update, and we'll give you the breakdown by school, by grade level. It gets much more detailed. This is kind of just a surface level overview of staffing compared to student enrollments, but we will have those details as we get further into the school year.
I would also mention, I think it's true that we graduated a rather large class into, they matriculated from 8th grade. So that sometimes accounts, sometimes if you have a large class graduating, then that sometimes accounts for that difference, but we will have more details for you in the upcoming report. The other thing I just want to make sure that all of our board members are understanding is, as we're monitoring enrollment over the summer, and leading up to the fall, we really are making conscious choices about how we're staffing those classrooms. And this school year, recognizing the difficult year we had last year, and some of the benefits that can be seen as we have a little bit smaller class sizes in our elementary schools, both for spacing and for learning recovery efforts. We broke some of those sections a little bit earlier. That essentially means if there was a school where there otherwise would have been 4 sections, we may have added a 5th section, slightly earlier than we would have in previous years. That has been a tremendous benefit, and our principals are sitting in the back of the room. They have been working tirelessly to staff for this school year, but many of them have acknowledged that making those decisions a little earlier have allowed for those staffing decisions to be made, and some really outstanding new staff members to be added to our schools. So on average, we have a slightly lower class size this year in our elementary schools than we have seen in recent years. And we're really thinking that that's going to help us both with the spacing and the mitigation protocol, but also as we return all of our learners onto campus, we think that will be beneficial as well. So we're really happy with that and how that's turned out.
I had a question. I just want to make sure that I'm reading this correctly. So at Mackenzie, there are 87 kids in kindergarten, and 73 of them have enrolled in the KEEP program?
Correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Many thanks to Heather for carefully tracking that all summer long, and again to our principals and assistant principals for all their work in making sure that our classrooms are well staffed. Our new staff welcome was really incredible with some great new additions to our teams. May I move on, please? Okay. The annual tax compliance notification. District 39 is an issuer of debt in the form of bonds, and as such is required to perform an annual post-issuance tax compliance review. The review has been completed and the district is in compliance with all requirements. Mr. Boltemeyer, is there anything I missed that you'd like to add?
That pretty much covered it. It's pretty straightforward review.
Questions? All right, and next we have the fiscal year 2021 administrator and teacher salary and benefits report. This is a required annual report. After the report is submitted to ISB, this information is shared with the Board of Education and is posted online as is required of all public school districts. And next we have the board policy review. We have 2 policies for consideration by the board. The first is a first reading of board policy 7:60. This policy has been reviewed to ensure it reflects our current practice. It is then reviewed by the board's lawyer to ensure legal compliance. So it is presented here to the board for a first reading. And again, not significant change, but really reflective of our current practice and detailing that out so it's really clear. The second and final reading is presented this evening for the Board of Education Policy 7:270. And this is the second and final reading of this policy. It reflects the suggested changes from the first reading. Any questions or comments on any of that?
Okay, thank you so much for all of that information. This is another opportunity for the public to address the board on any topic. Mr. DeMonte, are there any audience members online who wish to address the board? Okay, so we will move to the consent agenda. Are there any items that the board would like pulled from the consent agenda? Ms. Stone, please proceed with the motions.
I move to approve the personnel report dated August 23rd, 2021. I move to approve as first reading of Board of Education Policy 7:60 residents. I move to approve as second and final reading of Board of Education Policy 7:270 administering medicines to students. I move to approve the accounts payable for bills listed between June 15th, 2021 through August 23rd, 2021 in the following amounts. Educational Fund, $480,056.71. O&M Fund, $82,731.96. Transportation, $3,675.00. Capital Projects, $2,172,293.74, for a total all funds of $2,738,757.41. I move to approve the manual checks issued between June 15th, 2021 and August 23rd, 2021 in the following amounts. Educational Fund, $2,615,572.78. O&M Fund, $721,471.61. Debt Service, $475.00. Transportation, $152,895.57. Capital Projects, $1,309,292.00. Tort Fund, $66,101.00, for a total all funds of $4,865,807.96. I move to adopt the annual budget for Wilmette Public Schools.
I think that's it for the consent agenda.
Oh, I got ahead of myself. They were all in the same pile.
May I have a second?
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Would the clerk please call the roll?
John Cizaretti.
Yes.
Ann Hart.
Yes.
Bonnie Kim.
Yes.
Frank Panzica.
Yes.
Lisa Schneider-Fabes.
Yes.
Aaron Stone.
Yes.
Amy Payne.
Yes. The yeas have it. Motion carried. So now we can, I need a motion to approve the D39 fiscal year 22 budget.
I move to adopt the annual budget for Wilmette Public Schools, Cook County District 39, as presented in this report, reflecting all anticipated revenues and expenditures for a period extending from July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022.
May I have a second?
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Will the clerk please call the roll?
John Cizaretti.
Yes.
Ann Hart.
Yes.
Bonnie Kim.
Yes.
Frank Panzica.
Yes.
Lisa Schneider-Fabes.
Yes.
Aaron Stone.
Yes.
Amy Payne.
Yes. Motion carried. I need a motion to approve the WCSEA fiscal year 22 budget.
I move to adopt the Wilmette Community Special Education Agreement annual budget as presented in this report, reflecting all anticipated revenues and expenditures for a period extending from July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022.
May I have a second?
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Would the clerk please call the roll?
John Ready,
Yes.
Ann Hart, Bonnie Kim,
Yes.
Frank Panzica,
Yes.
Lisa Schneider-Fabes,
Yes.
Aaron Stone,
Yes.
Amy Paling.
Yes. I need a motion to approve the permanent interfund transfer.
I move to adopt the attached resolution authorizing a permanent interfund transfer in the amount of $750,000 from the education fund to the operations and maintenance fund as contained in this report.
May I have a second?
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Would the clerk please call the roll?
John Ready,
Yes.
Ann Hart,
Yes.
Bonnie Kim,
Yes.
Frank Panzica,
Yes.
Lisa Schneider-Fabes,
Yes.
Aaron Stone,
Yes.
Amy Paling.
Yes. Motion carried. I need a motion to approve the Navia Benefit Solutions Resolution.
I move to approve the attached resolution to establish Navia Benefit Solution as the third-party administrator of certain benefit plans.
May I have a second?
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Would the clerk please call the roll?
John Ready,
Yes.
Ann Hart,
Yes.
Bonnie Kim,
Yes.
Frank Panzica,
Yes.
Lisa Schneider-Fabes, Aaron Stone,
Yes.
Amy Paling.
Yes. Motion carried. We can move to conference items. Is there any old business? Any new business? Good and welfare. We start the new year.
Little thing about being, I think, the happiest parents in Wilmette for having kids starting school this week. Made me an amazingly good day. Can't wait till Wednesday. Thank you very much.
I just want to commend again the staff for getting us to this point. And I hope everybody has a good school year. And you know, I know that you worked all summer to make that a reality.
Indeed. I'll just add that I'm very much looking forward to going tomorrow morning to welcome all of the staff back to the school year on behalf of the whole board. We're certainly so grateful and wishing everybody a wonderful year. Okay, I seek a motion to adjourn to executive session to discuss specific personnel and special education.
I move to adjourn to executive session to discuss specific personnel and special education.
May I have a second?
Second.
Motion having been made and seconded, will the clerk please call the roll?
John Ready,
Yes.
Ann Hart,
Yes.
Bonnie Kim,
Yes.
Frank Panzica,
Yes.
Lisa Schneider-Fabes,
Yes.
Aaron Stone,
Yes.
Amy Paling.
Yes. Motion carried. We are now adjourned to executive session. The time is 7:54.